Brandon Smith, South Sydney Rabbitohs superstar that's come to the club this year. Queensland Police revealing a statement earlier today with alleged drug supply offences and inside knowledge betting offences. Michael Chemis joins us from the Nine newsroom tonight for more on that. Chemi, evening to you. Let's start on the drug supply side of things here. What details do you know tonight?
Yeah, James, a pretty major development in this situation. The issue is back to June 7 when Brandon Smith was still contracted at the Sydney Roosters. Now, the police were investigating a person of interest in regards to drug supply, and Brandon Smith's name came up in their phone. They also found that Brandon Smith was allegedly trying to buy illicit drugs for Roosters teammates while they were in the Sunshine Coast on June 7 during the bye round. Now, it's my understanding there were at least 7 players on a golf trip that weekend in the Sunshine Coast, and there is one player named in those allegations that will be presented to court on September 18. So it could have wide-ranging ramifications for Brandon Smith, for the NRL and the Roosters following those after that bench warrant was issued to Brandon Smith today.
All right, so that's the drug side of things. What about the alleged betting offences?
Yeah, those offences are in relation to Brandon Smith's first game back in the NRL with the South Sydney Rabbitohs this year. The allegations that he provided an alleged target or the drug dealer in question with information in regards to the team lineup in relation to his involvement in the team and his Latrell Mitchell's potential involvement with South Sydney that weekend, when then the allegations are that was used to provide information and betting for the person that he provided that information for. So a couple of interesting elements to this. It's my understanding that Brandon Smith will still play this weekend and he will plead not guilty to these charges. But it's interesting that development tonight with the Sydney Roosters. We know what Nick Politis said earlier in the year in regards to a zero tolerance going forward with his club in relation to drug use. So I want to stress these are allegations at the moment, but the Sydney Roosters have been implicated in this for an incident that occurred on June 7 while during a bye weekend.
All right, Michael, thanks for those huge details from the newsroom tonight. Danny, if anyone reads your Sunday Sun Herald column, they'll know that you followed Brandon Smith's career quite closely, particularly the complications that he's had along his journey off the field as well. Does this come as a surprise to you tonight?
Look, some of that does. I have to say that those are pretty staggering details, some of those things, and they're going to have potential implications for clubs in the game. Unfortunately, I've been viewed as being quite hard on Brandon Smith and his career. I spoke to South today, and they said that they want to make it very clear that he did not bet on a match. There are no allegations of cheating, to their understanding, or any sort of corruption. Yep. So I want to state that that's South Sydney's point of view, and they're not standing him down, as Michael said. But unfortunately for Brandon Smith, there are some bigger off-field issues. Central to those are gambling. The Roosters tried very hard to right him in that area. They appointed a mentor for him, a guy called Rogan Yates. Unfortunately, I don't know whether that has worked fully to help Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith, and this is quite a it's a hard thing to say, but he owed teammates thousands of dollars. He borrowed off teammates and owed them thousands of dollars, which the Roosters made sure that he repaid to those teammates. And that caused issues within the club. I spoke to one of the players today, a friend of Brandon Smith's, who's owed that money, and he was paid back. He's not a Roosters player, but the Roosters insisted that player was paid back. So these sort of things have been going on in Brandon Smith's life, and people in the media know about it, but I think a lot of people have just been laying off because Brandon Smith, in essence, is someone who's a very popular figure in the game and well-liked. When these sort of allegations, and they are allegations, surface, I think the public deserve to know some of the things that have been going on in the background.
I mean, one thing he is known for has been a larrikin, light-hearted, and Kevin, obviously you played with him throughout your career as well, and I think a lot of this information is going to shock a lot of people out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Spent a few years with Brandon Smith when he first joined the Melbourne Storm. He was a much younger player then, much younger person at the time. Look, I was aware of Brandon having the odd pun on horse races and whatnot, as a lot of us do, but nothing to the depths of what we're hearing at the moment. He seemed as though he had his life in order at the time that I spent alongside him at the Melbourne Storm. So, Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate to see, he's still a young man, sort of come unstuck the way he has.
Do you expect there to be any pushback, Denny, about him playing this weekend with this new information that's come to light?
Well, I spoke to Souths late today, or text messages with Souths, and they were adamant that he was going to play. Yep. What Michael has said tonight must have a bearing of some degree, but they are allegations, unproven, they've got to be tested. So we've got to allow Brandon his day to have his side of things and express what happened in his, from his point of view.
How frustrated do you think the Roosters hierarchy will be on the back of this?
Oh, very, because that doesn't read well or doesn't sound good for the Roosters from what Michael was saying there, the allegations. And the Roosters were mightily unhappy with Brandon Smith in his time there. And I've got nothing personal against Brandon Smith. I've got no reason to say this. I'm just relaying to you how the Roosters felt. And they couldn't have got him out of that club quickly enough. And now we're understanding maybe why.
All right. A bit more to come on this, I dare say, over the rest of the week.